Well, let's take another look at the Northern Governor's emergency meeting today. I'm being joined live from Abuja by a member of the 8th National Assembly and a human rights activist, Senator Shehu Sani. Thanks a lot for joining us on the News at 10.
Thank you for having me.
When the governors met in Kaduna earlier today, one of the resolutions was to revamp agricultural development. Then you look at what's going on in the region, the northeast, the northwest. How easy will that be?
Well, it's a good initiative. It is a priority, and it is important and significant to the economy of northern Nigeria. But you cannot be talking about revamping agriculture at this time with this pervasive insecurity that exists in the northwest and the northeastern part of the country. They are intertwined. You have to restore order, peace. The security apparatus of the state must take control of the ungoverned spaces as it exists now. If not, the idea of reviving any form of agriculture is simply a mirage.
And what do you think of the figures coming in from the Red Cross? The figures, the amount of people, children, minors that are missing, and how worried are you about that?
Well, the report is factual, and not just that organizations, but other groups have made similar reports. The issue of insecurity in northern Nigeria has led to so many things, and one of which is what was reflected in that report. The displacement of people, missing children, children killed in combat, and these are all issues associated with the conflict, and if they must be addressed, we have to go to the root of the problem by bringing an end to the banditry as it exists in the northwestern part of Nigeria, and also align ourselves with nations around the northeastern part of Nigeria to finally annihilate the insurgency.
Yes, looking at the resolutions that were adopted today, let's come back to the meeting today. They did agree that they would adopt the federal government's livestock transformation plan. That's what it's called. But then you find that some governors have already started implementing the Ruga scheme, and we're told it's different. And can you distinguish one from the other?
The idea of the Ruga scheme, once there is a hospitable and habitable environment for it, as it is in Niger State, Sokoto, and Kebbi, and Kano State, there is no problem with that. But we will have a problem if the federal government will impose it on all the 36 states and say this must be done. And if you will have a Ruga system, it can only flourish in a community that is accommodating. You cannot simply impose Ruga on other people and say it must function. But in this case, the northern states, states that are amenable to the idea, can actually establish Ruga if that will address the problem of migration and the violence that associated with it.
Yeah, but when you look at the north, the entire region, now let's go to the north central. We've talked about the east and the west. Do you think the north of today is as united as the north of yesterday was in terms of finding a lasting solution to the problems when you look at the north central now quickly?
It is factual that the north is no more that monolithic region as we used to know. Politics have come in. There is a widening and chasm that exists between religious beliefs, faith, and ethnic violence as it is in the Tiv Jukun, and the crisis in Kaduna and other states. These are all issues that northern state governors need to sit down and address. And it is unfortunate that this has been left over the years to reach to this point. And if we are going to have peace in the whole of Nigeria, certainly there should be peace in northern part of Nigeria. But most importantly now, what is most challenging is the banditry in northern western part of Nigeria. And the governor of Zamfara and Katsina State are making points and achieving result. But that is temporary. They are sitting down with the bandits, pacifying them, and in some cases, possibly paying them, but not be sustained. There must be a strategy to restore order and end banditry. And at the same time, the North must come together and address its conflicting ethnic and religious crisis and violence.
All right, member of the 8th National Assembly and human rights activist, Senator Shehu Sani, thanks for joining us on the News at 10 tonight.
Thank you for having me.